Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a strategy called the cash wedge. It is a strategy for those of you out there that are starting to pull your investments from your RRIF, and it's now providing you your retirement income. Let's get started. The cash wedge strategy is most impactful for those of you who are drawing a significant portion of your retirement cash flow from an RRSP or RRIF. And what the cash wedge is it's a wedge, or it acts like a buffer between you and your checking account and market volatility. Here's how you actually do it and why it's a good idea. One mistake I see a lot of people making as they're transitioning into retirement is being too conservative in their investments. And the old knowledge out there was that you want to reduce your risk as much as possible, but it went a little too far in a lot of cases. And I find that many people that I talk to are too conservatively invested when they're entering retirement. And what that means is that they're running a risk of losing purchasing power, because anytime you're trading investment risk, you're trading risk. So yes, those people are reducing their market volatility risk, but they're increasing their inflation and depreciation of purchasing power risk. So assuming that we're not doing that and we're not being too conservative in our investment approach transitioning into retirement, and you have, let's say, a moderate investment portfolio of 60% equities and 40% fixed income, what a cash wedge is an isolation of some of that money into something even more conservative than your fixed income portfolio. Essentially, what you want to be doing is you want to be finding an investment vehicle that is as high a return as possible with no market risk and with no liquidity lockup. So at K4, through our portfolio management partners, we have access to a high interest savings ETF that's paying about 4.3% right now to the client. Now, it has interest rate risk, so it has slowly been declining this year, but it doesn't have market risk. And unlike a GIC, it does not have a liquidity lockup. A liquidity lockup would completely defeat the purpose of the cash wedge, so we don't want to do GICs either. That's why this tool really is quite practical for it. So you would look at how much you're withdrawing before withholding tax. Let's call that $5,000 a month from your RRSP or RRIF. And you would want to be looking at between 3 to 6 months, maybe even more, isolated into this high interest savings ETF or something similar that would be getting you, again, no volatility risk, but you would have just interest rate risk, things like that. So you'd have $15,000 to $30,000 isolated in there acting as a wedge. And so what that does, acting as a buffer, it means that you have choices and you have time now on your side. If markets are strong and you're pulling your monthly withdrawal of $5,000 a month, go ahead and take it from the investments that are doing well, that's fine. But in the months that your investments are doing poorly, or in the extended time period where your investments are doing poorly, you have set yourself up with 3 to 6, maybe even 12 months worth of income in this cash wedge that you can draw on, allowing your portfolio the time to recover, hopefully, and get back on its feet. Now, you may think this is just a fancy word for a safety net, and essentially it kind of is, except it's more deliberately designed for cash flow. But it's worth a look at what the actual trades are. So again, if markets are up and your investments are doing very, very well, and you have $30,000, maybe $50,000 set aside in a cash wedge to provide you 6, 7, 8 months worth of income, you have lost out on the opportunity to have great investment returns in that amount. But assuming that you're going into retirement and doing a wedge with 10 to 15% of your portfolio, you're only missing out on a fraction of what that potential return could be on the total portfolio, because the rest is still invested. Well, on the flip side, if your investments are getting hit hard, you are not getting doubly punished by taking out income on depreciated assets. That's a double hit, right? If you're down 10% and then we have to do a 10, 20, 30% withholding tax, you're getting hit really, really hard on your investments. And that's ideally not what we want to be doing. So when we look at that trade between missing out on 10 to 15% of a potential return versus protecting yourself in a situation where you would hurt yourself quite badly if the investments were down, I think it's a worthy trade and something worth considering. To take it one step further, I want to talk about those of you that are under the age of 71. So you haven't been forced yet to convert your RRSPs into RRIFs. And to take the cash wedge one step further, what I do is it's the only money in the RRIF. So if you are in your 60s and you want to be drawing from your RRSP, instead of converting the entire amount, I simply shift the amount for a cash wedge into the RRIF or RRIF, and we drain that over time. That way, come January next year, your RRIF minimum withdrawal is zero because we'll drain it out, or it'd be very, very close to zero because we'll drain that account out. We restock it every 3 to 6 months with a little bit more cash. If markets are doing exceptionally well, maybe we restock it with 8 months. If they're not doing incredibly well, maybe we do 2 months. It again allows you time and control over when and how and why you are moving money out of your investment into your cash flow generating types of accounts. All right, so if you learned something new, please drop a comment below or a thumbs up for the video. If it's time for me to go over your RRIF strategy for your retirement plan, there'll be a link in the description down below that'll come directly to me. Until next time, keep planning.